Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special series of Faster Masters Rowing Radio, where we are looking at different parts of the world and what Masters Rowing is like there. My name's Rebecca Carrow, and I'm part of Faster Masters Rowing. Today, I'm delighted to welcome to join us Peter Midgeley.
Hi.
Hey, Peter. And you represent South Island Rowing from New Zealand. Tell us a little bit about the organisation.
Well, yes, I'm the regatta chair of South Island Rowing. South Island Rowing in the South Island of New Zealand is made up of 4 associations. We've got which run a regatta course in Twiza, which is in the centre of the South Island. It was a hydro lake built and opened back nearly 50 years ago. And it was specifically built for hydropower, but the designer back then decided to put in a rowing course, which was a government-built thing, and it was really sort of bringing all the clubs together back then and put in. This is what we need. It was in the centre of the South Island, so the top of the South Island clubs could go, and the bottom of it, and have 5 regattas a year there, and every second year we have the New Zealand National Champs, and the other year we have the New Zealand Secondary School Champs, which is coming up next month, which is our biggest regatta for the season, and that's called the Māori Cup. And the Māori Cup is a cup that's 50 years old. It was rowed in Egypt back during the Second World War, might be 60, 70 years old, and it's been competed for at the top secondary schools event, and it's run between the North Island of New Zealand and the South Island every second year.
Let's talk about Masters, Peter. Yes. We'll leave the kids. They're pretty good.
Right.
Tell us about the clubs that you've got in your area.
In the camp, as I said, the South Island Rowing is made up of 4 associations, and I'm involved in the Canterbury Rowing Association, which is the biggest association within the South Island, and we've got a Masters section that has just been formalised in the last couple of years. So we have a meeting of 1 member from each club. We've got 8 clubs in our association, and we have 8 members come along, and some clubs don't have Masters, but we have got 1 club that's totally Masters, and we've got clubs. Most clubs have just a Masters section. Some of our clubs are like everywhere else around the world. You have strong competitive clubs, and then you've got clubs like my own, which is Cure, based out at Kaikoura. We're 156 years old. We've got Masters, but we've got a small Masters team, up to 20 rowers, half which are competitive and half are recreational, but we're doing it for exercise, and the other half want to compete. It's all cool, but we're not a big club. But we meet and set a calendar within our association. We're quite lucky in the South Island that we have 5 major regattas: the Otago Champs, the Canterbury Champs, and our club champs at Ruataniwha, where we have our regattas, and the Masters have a set events in that. So we're in the North Island, they don't, because they have bigger groups, they can't fit the Masters in, but we're lucky we have around about 1,100 competitors at each of those regattas, and out of that we would have 15 Masters competing in different sort of 6 or 7 events over the weekend.
So they slide those 1K events into a 2K regatta.
Yes, we can move down to the 1K very easily. It's not a fixed start. It's a floating start, and we use the handicap system, which with Rebecca's advice we started last year, 18 months ago, and we'd have the countdown handicap system, and it's found that it was a bit of resistance when we first started, but after a while people felt that they were getting a bit of a better race, and it was a better finish, and it was a better, for the spectators to watch. to see everyone get mowed down at the last 10 metres. But no, it's been good fun. We also have the Masters Champs down there, New Zealand Champs, once every 2 years. It's the opposite of the New Zealand Club Champs. So we host that in the South Island every 2 years, and that's basically bringing all the competitive rowers in the New Zealand together between for that. It's normally held in September each year. And also during the year we have what we call a South Island Masters event, which has been going 22 years, and it's the coldest weekend of the year in New Zealand, and we've had it at places. It started 22 years ago with the ethos of just having a friendly get together and racing, but now we have about 25 cups, and it normally has between 200 and 300 events. It's a set form. There's no sort of set committee. A couple of us oversee it because we're the longest standing people, but there's a set format. We have a long distance race on the first day, followed by a barbecue and a few drinks. Then it kicks into the full regatta day, and then a dine and dance at the end of that with the prize giving. And it's normally Queen's birthday weekend, or King's birthday weekend, which is held in June, the first weekend of June, which is the coldest part of the winter. I remember about 12 years ago, starting at the start line in Twizel there, and it was snowing. And
I was there. I went to that.
Yeah, no, it was very, very, very cold. But it's this year is a wee bit different. The organisers have moved it forward to Anzac weekend, which is April the 25th, and it's going to Lake Wanaka, and it will be hopefully a bit warmer. And yes, the water's about moving the weekend. But that's been going. Sorry.
The thing I love about your South Island Masters Championships is that the location changes each year, and it goes and is hosted by a club. And it's a fantastic fundraising opportunity for the club because the profits from this 2-day regatta, plus a barbecue, plus a dine and dance afterwards, all go into that local club.
That's right, and it swaps around. And the idea was to go to places that they used to row at, before the lane courses arrived. So,
of course, the old rivers, the lakes, where before we had straight lane 2K courses. Yes,
that's right. But now it's got to a size that, that's okay if you've only got 150 competitors. But when you get up to 200 to 300, you need to have a bigger infrastructure.
Right.
Because if you're going to have a dine and dance, there's not many halls that can take 300 people.
And their partners and
That's right.
Yeah. The first one I went to in recent years was in Picton, which for people who don't know it's the top of the South Island, and it's on the sea, and it's where the ferry comes in that goes between the North and South Island. So there we were in small boats with something that felt like a block of flats drawing up alongside us.
That's right. So back in the day, there used to be a circuit back in the 70s and 60s and 40s was the Picton Regatta was on New Year's Day, and they used to have a mass start. But one year the ferry is Interline Ferry, that's our main ferry junction. The ferry come in, and the wise coxswains would turn their boat toward the wake, and one coxswain, a few didn't know the trick, and they always got submerged. That was when you're way out there with a big wash coming through with a ferry. No, it's famous for that some very good rowers have come out of the Picton Club. Gold medalist Joseph Sutherland was the one. He's
right. He won gold at London Olympics.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, Peter, what are the sort of changes that have happened in recent years to improve or adapt Masters rowing? You've mentioned a growth in headcount.
Well, yes, it's we in the South Island and probably in New Zealand, we are very slow on change. But basically over here, that our rule change, we have a set structure, and it's every 4 years that rules can be changed or amended. So anything to do with the rules of racing or the structure is very political. It needs to go through to the whole 20 odd associations and get voted on. I think the biggest change for Masters, there's going to be a big growth, but it's getting the clubs on board, because in New Zealand we're very, very school orientated. The bulk of the rowers are under the age of 18, and then you have the club rowers that are just the normal clubs, and then the Masters. Now in the Canterbury region, our Masters section is very, very close to our club rowing numbers. So if you take all the school age rowers out, and I'm talking about the club rowers who are either students at university or
young adults,
would be a very similar, number to the Masters in Canterbury.
Okay. So we almost sort of 50-50.
Almost, yeah. So people need to sort of, we're trying to say, hey, look, we're here. We're the backbone. We're here for a longer period than the parents. What happens with a lot of the clubs are run by, the parent, a keen parent is great, but they're only there for a 3 to 4 year cycle. And then when the child leaves rowing, they resign also. But there again, a lot of them stay on because they enjoy that part of maybe friends. But a lot of the clubs are run by Masters because they've got the time, the money, and the knowledge of how to.
The knowledge.
And they have got the staying power. They're there for, I think the average Masters rower, I thought saw a stat, was over 10 years in a club. So that kicks out the 3 year come in and change, and where the Master gives the club stability.
So the changes that you've seen, you've mentioned that starting to use handicap times and people getting familiar with that is one change. Is there anything else that's coming up over the horizon?
Well, I think, like down here, and it's probably worldwide, is coastal rowing, which I think there's going to be a good growth for river club, for coastal clubs to bring. I'm speaking outside, but I believe that Masters is very hard to bring novice rowers on, unless you've got a set program, and that's one of the handicaps. But the biggest change I can see in the future is with coastal clubs is to have a coastal boat that you can bring on, novice rowers a lot quicker to get them into the structure of rowing without balance, and then the more they go out, easier it gets, and then they can move into the narrow boat. And I think, I've been in coastal boats with novices, and it's so easy to teach them the basics of the slide control, placing the blade, catch. I think that's going to be the biggest change moving forward, and it's quite exciting.
It is quite exciting, and you make some really good points about the longevity of Masters inside clubs, how long they stick around. And do you have any tips for clubs who perhaps are listeners who are in clubs where the Masters are not acknowledged or recognised, how they might go about finding a more equal footing perhaps with the younger people in the club?
Well, I think it's worldwide. It depends on the club, but down here, down under, I think most Masters are second rate. You really got to take that attitude and sort of get into the club, get on the committee, and be positive and start running it the way you put your suggestions forward and just keep the oil to the squeaky wheel and you get things done. It's
It sounds simple. I know it's a long job, and I'm sure that you've personally participated in that. Peter, thank you for coming and telling us a little bit about South Island rowing in New Zealand and the Masters scene down south. And if anyone's interested in visiting from overseas, how would they get in touch with clubs to see if they could go for a visit row?
Well, you can just go through all South Island rowing, Google that, and it's got all the clubs. It's got our 4 main associations, and each 4 associations got the clubs listed. So, yeah, there's a number. Just Google an area. There's a rowing club in every town, city in the South Island and river. There's a rowing club. So, and you'll be more than welcome.
Thank you so much for your time.
Great.
I've been Rebecca Caro, and we look forward to another mini interview to find out about Masters rowing around the world very soon.